Okay, well, good morning. Good morning once again. Yeah, I said we'll start in the next 5 minutes, but I can see that we have up to 30 persons here already. So why don't we just get right into it so that we can have enough time to take advantage of the market. First of all, what's important is that let's talk about some of the things that happened over the course of the week. Oh, I think we've not really had so much high impact news apart from today. Okay. Okay, yes, let's continue. I believe that, please, I believe we can hear me. I believe you can hear me. Thank you. So as I was saying, we want to talk about some of the things that happened in the market. Fundamental news, especially since yesterday was a very interesting day. We had CPI. I'm just going to share my browser with us so that we can look at what CPI came out as yesterday. Let me share that with us. Good. So yesterday, although okay, this is today. Let's check out yesterday. Yesterday, CPI came out in the US zone. Core CPI especially came out unchanged. And we always try to explain what CPI means, consumer price index, and it measures or it's a leading indication of inflation in the US zone. So if the consumer price index comes out higher, it means that prices of consumer goods have aggregately increased. You understand? And then if that has happened, then that's what we refer to as inflation, right? Good. So that's inflation. And if there is inflation, it's expected that the government will want to tackle inflation by increasing interest rates. Okay, so most times when CPI comes out and it comes out positive, it comes out higher than expected, it likely is going to give the dollar strength because investors expect that, oh, the fact that this is let me buy the dollar, because the Feds usually want to tackle this by increasing interest rates. But as at yesterday when this came out, you can see that the first CPI month on month came out negative, CPI year on year came out negative, and then the core CPI month on month came out exactly the same. So that means that people understood that, oh, if inflation is even reducing as a standstill, then there is really no motivation for the US Feds to increase interest rates. There's no motivation, you understand? So, and that is why you have people, you have the dollar actually getting weak yesterday when this news came out, especially because, and it's such an interesting thing, especially because today there's also going to be a very high impact news that we expect to move the market, and that's going to happen by 7 p.m. If you've seen Forex Factory, you'll see my screen right now. You'll see that we have one before 7 p.m. We have one by 1:30 p.m., which is the CPI, the PPI. So yesterday, what came out was consumer price index, and what we're expecting is producers price index. So consumers will actually look at, oh, prices of goods have increased, but we want to check producers and check how the prices of resources have also increased. You understand? So if the price of resources from the producers front has increased, then you understand why, because if resources has increased to produce, by the time the final product comes out, it will also increase because the producers will pass the cost to the consumers. You understand? So, but majorly what I feel like would have a very great impact in the market is FOMC by 7 p.m. So we have this here. FOMC, especially the FOMC that carries economic projection. This one comes out beginning of every quarter. comes out once every quarter. And so that is why it's coming out this month. This month ends the second quarter. June ends the second quarter of this year. Okay, so we're going to be having this particular news for 7 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. is going to talk about the interest rate. So yesterday, remember we said CPI came out negative, or it was soft data. It did not come out as high as we expected. So investors are expecting that because of that, okay, the US Fed might likely not increase interest rates. So interest rate might likely remain the same or even reduce. They're not expecting them to increase interest rate, and that is why there's a certain weakness in the dollar. If that comes out and interest rate is not increased, although it depends on what the Fed chairman says, or it depends on what the FOMC, the Federal Open Market Committee, says. But normally, if interest rate is not going to be increased by 7 p.m., after the press conference, you might actually see a weakness in the dollar. You understand? But 7 p.m. Such a long time to actually make decision. Another thing is the GDP. On the GBP, they released their GDP 7 a.m. today, and it was actually unchanged, 0.2%. No significant increase, or at least it's good, because in the UK, it's been expected that, one of the European countries that are really struggling with battling against recession. Okay, so it's kind of good that the GDP has not dropped lower. Production has not dropped lower, although it has remained at the same point for last month to this month, or for upper month to last month. You understand? So it seems kind of okay. The GDP seems to be the British pound seems to be recovering from the huge fall it has made. But some of the recovery it has made is as a result of the weakness in dollar, actually. But that said, let us go into our chart, okay, so that we can look at the market for today. Let me share that with us. Okay, so here we have it. We have our chart. First of all, let's look at the dollar index. Let's look at the dollar index chart. You would notice that around yesterday, when that news came out by 1:30, the dollar index actually fell, hit this verified support, and has been ranging around here. There is still weakness in the dollar index. There's still weakness in dollar index, and that is why it hits this resistance here. And at this resistance, you can see that it's actually battling with that resistance. So there's weakness in the dollar index. You understand? There's weakness in the dollar. Remember that the dollar index is talking about it's a basket of currencies that are traded against the dollar. Okay. So when we understand the dollar index, we can easily tell what some of, especially dollar pairs, is likely to do. You understand? So that is how it works. So that said, I think we can check out some of the instruments, a few of the instruments that we expect a move on. First of all, let me look at D30. This is D30 on 15 minutes. So let's check it out on 1 hour. D30 is currently at a weak resistance, and for those who do not know, D30 has approached, it's currently around one of its high points, which will be visible when you check it on the weekly time frame. Before COVID, GBP was D30 was approaching its high point. After COVID, was able to get towards that point, but it's a point where price has been rejected a couple of times now, and that is where right now D30 is approaching. Okay, that's where D30 is approaching. But looking at it on 1 hour, you can see that we have a weak resistance where it currently is. Not only do we have a weak resistance there, but also price has also formed somewhat of a double top. Okay, somewhat of a double top. So if price at this particular resistance here, except if price breaks this resistance, you would expect that price should actually respect this resistance and actually head back down. Okay, so if we're looking at D30, analyzing D30 today, this particular point, I'm going to insert my rectangle to mark where I'm actually looking out for expecting a pullback in the market. All this zone here, from this weak resistance to this particular weak resistance, is where I'm expecting a pullback in the market. Okay, I'm expecting a pullback in the market. We have this double top here. Okay, we have this double top here, and we have this resistance. Yes, it's a weak resistance, but I always tell people that a verified resistance or a proven resistance was once a weak resistance. So once price is at a resistance, it is better that you honor that particular point. Do you understand? So that said, the only thing that will make me consider a buy on D30 is if it breaks above this particular weak resistance where it is, you know. But I've actually marked this zone as places where I'll take my sell entries. Remember that D30, you want to trade D30, you must be ready to welcome the risks. But I expect that from this point here, we should be actually looking out for sell entries in the market, expecting price to actually retrace. Okay. If you check it on 4 hours, you also notice the same thing. Where D30 is now, where D30 is now is around where, if you follow my crosshair, you see that there's a little bit of price barrier around there. There's a little bit of price barrier around there. So you want to be careful with a further buy on D30 right at this point. Let it conveniently break above this resistance, this weak resistance, even the one above here, before you consider buying D30. Okay, but given the fact that we're expecting a high impact news later today, you might not catch too much volatility in the market. So I do not expect that volatility. I do not expect the lack of volatility to help break this weak resistance around here. So for D30 is currently at the resistance. If you want to wait for this candle to close, this is a 13-minute scan. This candle is just 13 minutes on the 1 hour. So there's a lot of movement for this candle to make. Okay, so don't be carried away with the sudden push up that you have on it. Understand that it is at a resistance, okay, and let it conveniently break this resistance before you can consider buying, considering that D30 is currently at a most recent high. Okay, and if it's at a if it's at a most recent high, you expect a kind of retracement. Okay, so let it conveniently break. I'm going to say this again. When we talk of a candle breaking a resistance, you have to wait for that candle to close. That candle, whatever time frame you are looking at it, if you're looking at it on 15 minutes, if price is on a resistance on 15 minutes, consider here's a verified. If it's a resistance on 15 minutes, you have to wait for that 15 minutes candle to close, and the body of that candle has to be conveniently formed above that resistance. You understand? So that is what we're talking about. That's that for D30. D30 is at the resistance point. We expect that it conveniently breaks it before we can look out for a buy, because it's at a point where the last time it was around here, there was a level of retracement. Okay, but if it conveniently breaks this weak resistance, body of the candle conveniently closes above this weak resistance, then yeah, you can look out for a further buy on DE30. Okay, after DE30, let's check out US30. Check out US30, and I'll also check out UK100. Okay, this is 5 minutes. Let's have it on 1 hour. Good. So this is US30 on 1 hour. After the retracement of yesterday, remember that yesterday dollar was a bit weak, especially when CPI came out, and it gave strength to indices also. So that was yesterday during CPI. Yesterday price moved and hit this verified resistance. It has done a level of retracement. Okay, and you can see that currently US30 is trying to approach the verified resistance again. After this retracement, let's zoom in so that we can see the candlesticks. After this retracement here, price has made a support around this point. On this support, it has made a form of hammer. It has confirmed it, and then you can see price, trading upward. So what we expect, especially with the current weakness in the dollar, is a push up. So if looking at US30, I advise actually to look out for a buy. Look out for a buy on US30. Take your profit before this verified resistance. Okay, so on US30, look out for a buy. Take your profit before the verified resistance. Okay, buy on US30. Buy on US30. Then I said UK100. Let's look at UK 100. Some of this UK 100 also is actually on a good bullish move, but you should understand that UK 100 has already approached or is close to its verified resistance. Okay, it's close to the reason why I give a buy on US30 is because it's not close to its resistance, so there's still room for US30 to push up. But you look at UK 100, it's already close to a verified resistance on 1 hour. Okay, so what you want to do at this verified resistance is, this verified resistance is a place where you expect a retracement. So you can take a sell, you can put your sell limit at this verified resistance, or you can take a sell at this verified resistance. Only if it breaks above this verified resistance is when you can actually buy to the next proven resistance. Today, what the market will be doing is the market will be moving technically until maybe 1:30 when high impact news begin to roll out. Okay, but we do not have any high impact news now. And I feel like what CPI did yesterday, we still have the effect in the market right now. So some of these bullish moves, especially on indices, should continue. Okay, but that said, price has to break this verified resistance before you can consider buying. Okay, I wish we saw this much earlier, but this is where the market is at this point in time. Okay, so don't be too emotional and say, oh yes, it can actually push up, but let it break this particular point where it has been rejected so many times. When it breaks this particular level here, you can consider now buying to this proven resistance. Okay, so that is that for UK 100, but the indices market is actually pushing up. Feel like the dollar index is weak, so generally we expect the index market to take advantage of that during this European session and actually push up, okay, gain strength. Okay, looked at 3 indices. Let us check out GBPUSD. Check out GBPUSD. Check it out on 4 hours. So this is GBPUSD on 4 hours. Let's look at it first from daily time frame. So you will notice, like I said, that the British pound has actually done well for itself. It's been weak for a long time, and it has made a couple of push back up. It's been able to reach a verified resistance even on the daily time frame. It's around that zone, and I always tell people that a verified resistance is not just a line. It's not just about this line. It's about this zone. It's a zone. Okay, it's a zone. That's what's important. Now, why that place was marked as a verified resistance, you'll find out that price is approaching a point where on the weekly time frame, the last time it got here, let me zoom in. The last time price got here was rejected, okay? But we can see that price is already, headed back upward. So it tells us that, this particular zone here, this particular zone is just what a retracement zone. So it's possible for price to still head upwards to make a higher high. But this point where it is, is a point that has to be respected. Why do I say that? This is not the only time that price was rejected here. Okay, if you go back to around April 2022, you find that price was also rejected around that zone. So trust me, it's actually a tough zone. It's a strong zone for price, and that's why it's noted as a verified resistance on the daily time frame. But currently, price is about how many pips from that zone? It's about 50 pips or thereabout from that zone. So looking at it on 1 hour, we'll notice that around this resistance here, we had a bearish engulfing candlestick on 1 hour. This is a bearish engulfing candlestick, and this particular bearish engulfing candlestick shows a bearish pressure in the GBP market. It shows a bearish pressure in the GBP market. So what do I advise? I advise that we look out for a sell, especially when price begins to trade below this particular point here. You'll notice that this particular, okay, let me mark it out for us. Okay, good. Yeah. So this particular point is where we have like a bubble right now. Price has given a bearish engulfing candle, but has been ranging around this zone. So you want to trade GBPUSD, you're looking out for a sell, let price break below this zone. Price break below this zone, then you can take advantage of a sell, at least 10 to 20 pips. Okay, take advantage of a sell on GBPUSD. Okay. The reason why I'm giving that parameter is because we're currently seeing a weakness in the dollar index. Okay, but technically GBPUSD is showing us that there's still further fall we're expecting. So let us wait for price to break below this particular zone where it has ranged for a couple of hours now. It breaks below this zone, we can actually look out for a sell on GBPUSD. Okay, but if it trades a higher above here, then we expect that GBPUSD should buy till around this untested resistance, till around the 1.266 region. Okay, but looking at GBP and looking at the candlestick pattern on 4 hours, there was a bearish engulfing there. On 1 hour, we also had a bearish engulfing. Okay, so there is bearish pressure currently in the GBPUSD market. Let it break below this zone, and then you can have a free fall, maybe towards this verified support. Okay, so that is GBPUSD. Okay, let's look at EURJPY. Okay, good. So EURJPY, for EURJPY, you check it out. I actually expect this EURJPY on the daily time frame, and you see that the euro has been doing quite well against JPY. Japanese yen seem to be having issues since the time where they gave hawkish comments about their currency. They seem to have been having issue, but currently you notice that it's at a verified resistance on the daily time frame. It's at a verified resistance, and so we actually expect a fall in this market. We expect a sell in this market. I expect that for EURJPY, we should be looking out for a sell. As long as it is below this verified resistance, what you want to look out for this market is actually a sell to maybe this verified support. Okay, but for EURJPY, it has hit a verified resistance even on the daily time frame, ranging around here. But you can see that even on 1 hour, it's making subsequent lows. It's making subsequent lows, just going down like this. So there is more bearish pressure than we have bullish pressure. So I advise a sell on EURJPY. Stop loss can be above this verified resistance. Okay, but for EURJPY, I actually advise a sell in the market. Okay, that's EURJPY. I also wanted to check GBPJPY before we look into commodities. GBPJPY is also going to be doing the same thing that we see EURJPY doing. Let me have a clearer chart for us. Good. So yesterday there was quite great strength, in GBP. You can see the daily candlestick and how bullish it really went. Okay, but you will notice that on 1 hour, price has been ranging around the resistance here. Okay, so for GBPJPY, we actually expect, you will notice that for the past 7 hours or thereabout, price has been ranging around a particular zone. So what has price done? Price has formed a resistance for itself and a support for itself. So you will notice that if I mark this point here, you will see that with price action, price seems to have formed a resistance and a support for itself. So for intraday traders, for those persons who want to look out for the market, you want to wait for price to go below this point, okay, and then you can sell to this stone cold support. But since the JPY seems to be having level of strength this morning, I expect GBPJPY to actually fall from this point only when it breaks below this bubble that it has created for itself. Okay, so the litmus test for your buy or for your sell is when price breaks below here, you're going to be selling, or if price break above the resistance, then that buy is likely to continue. You understand? Let's check it out on higher time frame and see what price has done in the past around this zone here. It's been a while that price has been at this point. So the truth is that, you really want to expect GBPJPY is on an uptrend. So for those who are trading GBPJPY, you should be looking out for buy entries around support zones. You should be looking out for buy entries around support zones. You can see that this point here is a barrier point, and that is around where price is. That's around where price is. So I would only advise for those who are trading GBPJPY, wait for it to retrace towards the nearest support, and then you can take a buy from there, because this is an established uptrend and will likely expect this uptrend to continue. Okay, expect this uptrend to continue. You can do that. You can also take a buy stop above this resistance here for long-term traders. You can take a buy stop above this resistance and then expect price to head further upwards. Okay, expect price has a long way to go, and I expect that it's actually going to do that, because even in Japan, they are currently having some issues, especially with China. You know, as we're having some issues, especially with China, and so that is why GBP and even Euro has taken advantage of that. GBP is not a very strong instrument currently, but you see stronger than JPY. Okay, so this bullish run is likely going to continue, but we expect a retracement around this point before that run continues. Okay, then let's check out oil. And then we can check out gold also. Oil, with what OPEC outlined some months ago, they've been able to achieve a lot of that, because OPEC, it was one of their plans to put oil within the $70 zone. Okay, it was one of their plans to put oil between the $70 zone. But yesterday, some of the news that came out, especially with oil, is OPEC gave a monthly report. They released a monthly report, I think, yesterday, and that monthly report seemed to be very good. Also, they are trying to get Saudi Arabia to actually do level of production cuts. That means reduce the amount of barrels that are being produced or being supplied, and that will create, what they want to create is artificial scarcity, or a momentary scarcity that would likely give an increase in the price of oil. So OPEC wants to be, they happen to be that big brother when it comes to oil. They want to determine how the price goes up and how the price comes down. Somehow they've been able to tackle Russia as a wild card. Russia was the major reason why oil moved up to about 130 or thereabout, but they've been able to tackle it. But talking about this production cut, because of the expectation of this production cut, when something is scarce, the value rises. When something is scarce, you see increase in the value. Good. So because of that, it's likely that the bullish move on oil will continue, especially since yesterday we had technically around the point where oil has been rejected in the past on daily time frame. You can see that it's not the first time. 1, 2, 3, and then around this zone, although this zone price came out, this about 1, 2, 3 price has been rejected around this zone. Okay, so technically we still expect a push up in oil. Still expect a push up in oil, but the truth is that it's currently at a weak resistance. And on that weak resistance, it has given somewhat of a bullish engulf, a bearish engulfing. Somehow this bearish candle has been able to, overshadow this bullish candle here. That's a technical, what will I call it now? That's technical. Okay, that's a signal. Okay, so we might likely be having some level of retracement around here, but oil is still expected to push up. From what we saw on the daily time frame, we still expect oil to actually push up. Okay, so what you want to do around this point is that, if we're looking out for a sell, I would only expect that sell to be, I expect us to go in below this point here where the last retracement ended for price to go back up. Okay, I'm going to go in because below this point, oil would have broken structure. Okay, oil would have broken structure to continue selling. Good. So if I want to go in for a sell, it's going to be below this particular point. But the more expected is in which is a continuation in the bullish move of oil, would be above this particular point. So once oil trades above this particular point here, I expect this bullish move to continue, and I'm going to expect it to continue at least to, I'm going to expect the bullish move to continue at least to about 75.30, and then by extension around this untested resistance here. Okay, so with what oil has given on the daily time frame, the candlestick formation we have seen, we should expect a further buy on oil. The only time we'll be selling oil is if somehow it comes and closes below its most recent low. Okay, if it does that, then fine. But anything other than that, I expect a push up from oil once it breaks above this particular point here. Okay. So that's that. Talking about high impact news that we have for oil, we do not really have any. We have crude oil inventories today, but like I like to explain anytime I'm opportunity to talk about it. High impact news is a function of what is going on in the market. Okay, high impact is a function of what is going on in the market. For instance, oil. There was a time where crude oil inventories used to be a high impact news in Forex Factory. When you go to Forex Factory and check Wednesdays or Thursdays by 3:30 p.m., you would see crude oil inventories as a high impact news, and it will cause such a massive move in oil. But right now, that same news, if you check Forex Factory today by 3:30, that same news is now a low impact news. That's what it is. It's not even high impact, it's low impact news. That same news. So the reason for that is because it's no longer about nobody's really concerned about the amount of stock or the amount of inventory that the US has when it comes to oil. Okay, nobody really, because this crude oil inventory is about the US. Nobody really cares. It's now a matter of everybody's trying to gain control of oil, have a say when it comes to oil. Russia, OPEC, China, and thereabouts. So there are a lot of issues, especially when COVID came in. COVID changed the direction. It was no longer about crude oil inventory. It was no longer about how much crude or how much what the stock of oil was, especially with the dollar. You understand? So that is why the news actually changed. Currently, the period we are in now, the biggest news that you can find right now may not even be biggest news happens to be the CPI news. Biggest news happens to be FOMC news right now, because the talk now is about fighting inflation and interest rate and thereabouts. So those are some of the biggest news that we have right now. You understand? So that said, these are some of the instruments that we will be looking at today. I think we'll check out gold. We'll check out gold before we call it a day. The final instrument we'll be looking at for today is gold. And if you check gold, gold has been, like I say, fortunate, to test the 2000 zone, and that's been rejected around that zone. But you will notice that on the daily time frame, gold has been resting on this point. Just when you look at this candle, you find that there is something around this point here, which I will mark. There's something around this point that price has been rejecting on the daily time frame. Price has been rejecting this point here. Okay, and that's what makes it a verified support on 1 hour. It's a verified support. Okay, so I expect that this push up that is currently happening in gold I expect it to continue. That said, currently gold is at a resistance. And remember, I said you need to you need to be careful so that you're not carried away by the excitement of the candlestick. How the candlestick is looking green. Once this candle closes and breaks above this resistance, then we can continue that particular buy. Okay, but gold has hit this verified support, and it's not the first time. You notice that anytime it hits this verified support in most recent time, price tends to get to this proven resistance. So we expect this buy to actually continue on gold. Okay, we expect the buy to continue on gold. Okay, dollar is weak, gold should gain strength and should push up. So for those who are trading on gold, I expect a buy on gold. The only time you sell gold is if somehow it breaks below this verified support, which it has not done. So you're trading gold, what you should be looking out for is a buy on gold. Please, I also like to inform you that today by 2 p.m. we are going to be having the live trading session, which is the New York session. Looking at the New York session, to start by 2 p.m. That class is also going to be with this same link. Okay, so it's this same link. You can click on this same link. It will take you that meeting by 2 p.m. Also, this meetings are also held. You notice that these meetings that we hold, especially morning market review like this, is also held on YouTube. So you can head over to our YouTube page. Reach out to if you don't have it, it will be dropped in the chat. Apart from that, also you can reach out to your account officers. you want to be with us on YouTube, you want to be with us on Telegram, because very soon Telegram handles will actually become a lot more active. Apart from the signals you're getting in your mail, you'll likely be getting some on Telegram also. So join us on Telegram. Check out our YouTube page, because on our YouTube page we'll be dropping some videos of trainings we have on special indicators and all the likes. So you subscribe, you like, you share, you do all the good stuff. But that is the much that we can take on the morning market review this morning. Thank you for your time. I wish you all a very profitable day ahead. Bye for now.